What is up, everybody? JT Dangerous there once again. I am here to do my Week 10 college football predictions. Now, with Week 9 in the books, we are now into Week 10 of the college football season with just 4 weeks left to go. So I am very excited to do my Week 10 predictions for you guys, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, our record coming into Week 10 after a very good Week 9, we went 15-9. So we're coming in Mamma Mia hot right now, and I'm looking to keep it that way. So hopefully in this video we will continue the red hot winning ways. We're on a 7-week winning streak. Hopefully in this video we make it 8 weeks. Hopefully. Now, this is the first video in a combined 3 video day on the channel today and this week, guys. And these are the final 3 videos in the month of October. So, hopefully you guys will be able to watch all these videos. Always show your support on the channel by watching these videos, super kicking those like buttons, hitting that notification bell, commenting your picks, your opinions, and representing your college football teams in the comments sections down below. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel today, it's a first time viewer, and this is your first video, boy, you picked a good one if you're a huge fan of college football like myself, and you're ready for Week 10 of the college football season. Welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. I'm JT Dangerously. Welcome to the club, because this club is just 2. Whoop whoop! Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these Week 10 college football predictions. Let's start off on Thursday night with a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the West Virginia Mountaineers heading to Waco to face the Baylor Bears. Now, this is only the 8th meeting between West Virginia and Baylor. West Virginia leads the old-time series 5-2. Now, the Mountaineers have won the last 3 meetings against the Bears dating all the way back to 2016, and the Bears are looking to defeat the Mountaineers for the first time in 4 years. Now, both teams are coming off byes in Week 9. West Virginia is coming in at 3-4, and Baylor's coming in undefeated at 7-0. So coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown on Thursday night, I'm going to go with the Baylor Bears to get it done at home and remain undefeated and defeat the West Virginia Mountaineers in a close shootout. And now the next matchup, which also happens on Thursday night, it is a Sun Belt Conference East rivalry showdown between the Georgia Southern Eagles heading to Boone, North Carolina to face the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Now, this is the 34th meeting between Georgia Southern and Appalachian State. Appalachian State leads the old-time series 18-14-1. Now, the Eagles won the last meeting last year over the Mountaineers, and the Mountaineers are looking to defeat the Eagles for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming off very good Week 9s. Georgia Southern's coming off their victory over New Mexico State on Saturday, coming in at 4-3, and the Mountaineers are coming off their victory over South Alabama on Saturday, coming in undefeated at 7-0. So, coming from me in this Sun Belt East rivalry showdown on Thursday night, I'm going to go with the Appalachian State Mountaineers to get it done at home and remain undefeated and defeat the Georgia Southern Eagles. And now the Saturday slate that starts with a huge ACC rivalry showdown between the Miami Hurricanes heading to Tallahassee to face the Florida State Seminoles. Now, this is the 64th meeting between the U and Florida State. Miami leads the old-time series 33-30. Now, the Canes have won the last 2 meetings against the Seminoles, and the Seminoles are looking to defeat the Canes for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming off very good Week 9s in the ACC Conference. Miami's coming off a big victory over Pitt on Saturday, coming in at 4-4, and the Seminoles are coming off a victory over Syracuse on Saturday, also coming in at 4-4. So coming from me in this huge ACC rivalry showdown, this one should be good. These 2 teams don't disappoint when they play each other because there's so much history between the 2. 2 teams that hate each other for sure. Coming from me, I'm going to go with the Florida State Seminoles to get it done at home and defeat the Miami Hurricanes in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 10 West rivalry showdown between the Nebraska Cornhuskers heading to Purdue to face the Purdue Boilermakers. Now, this is only the 8th meeting between Nebraska and Purdue. Nebraska leads the old-time series 4-3. Now, the Boilermakers won the last meeting last year over the Cornhuskers, and the Cornhuskers are looking to defeat the Boilermakers for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming off very bad Week 9s in the Big 10 Conference. Nebraska's coming off their loss to Indiana on Saturday, coming in at 4-4, and Purdue's coming off their loss to Illinois on Saturday, coming in at 2-6. So coming from me in this Big 10 West rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with Scott Frost and the Nebraska Cornhuskers to rebound and bounce back on the road and defeat the Purdue Boilermakers. And now the next matchup. It is a battle between two military academies, between the Black Knights of Army heading to the Air Force Academy to face the Air Force Falcons. Now this is the 54th meeting between Army and Air Force. Air Force leads the all-time series 36-16-1. Now the Black Knights of Army have won the last two meetings against the Air Force Falcons, and the Falcons are looking to defeat the Black Knights for the first time since 2016. Now both teams are coming off very different week 9s. The Black Knights of Army are coming off a loss to the San Jose State Spartans on Saturday, coming in at 3-5, and the Falcons of Air Force are coming off a victory over Utah State on Saturday night, coming in at 6-2. So coming from me in this battle of the military academies, who would have thought this season Navy and the Air Force Academy have better records than Army this season after Army's fantastic year last year? But I have a hell of a lot of respect for all the military schools in college football. Respect the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Marines. So this one's going to be good. But coming from me, I'm going to go with the Falcons of the Air Force Academy to get it done at home and defeat the Black Knights of Army. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC West rivalry showdown between the Ole Miss Rebels heading to Auburn to face the Auburn Tigers. Now this is the 44th meeting between Ole Miss and Auburn. Auburn leads the all-time series 32-10. Now the Tigers have won the last 3 meetings against the Rebels, and the Rebels are looking to defeat the Tigers for the first time since 2015. Now both teams are coming off very different week 9s. Ole Miss is coming off a bye. They're coming in at 3-5, and Auburn's coming off their heartbreaking loss to LSU on Saturday, coming in at 6-2. So coming from me in this SEC West rivalry showdown, that Auburn loss to LSU definitely hurt them big time. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Bo Nix, because Bo knows and the Auburn Tigers to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Ole Miss Rebels in a shootout. War Eagle! And now the next matchup. It is a Big Ten East rivalry showdown between the Michigan Wolverines heading to Maryland to face the Maryland Terrapins. Now this is only the 9th meeting between Michigan and Maryland. Michigan leads the all-time series 7-1. Now the Wolverines have won the last 4 meetings against the Terrapins, dating all the way back to 2015, and the Terrapins are looking to defeat the Wolverines for the first time since 2014. Now both teams are coming off very different week 9s. Michigan's coming off a statement win over Notre Dame on Saturday night, coming in at 6-2, and the Terrapins are coming off their loss to the Golden Gophers of Minnesota on Saturday, coming in at 3-5. So coming from me in this Big Ten East rivalry showdown, Michigan definitely showed that they are a threat, but I still don't think they're a threat to Ohio State this season. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Shea Patterson, Jim Harbaugh, and the Michigan Wolverines to get it done on the road and defeat the Maryland Terrapins. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the Kansas State Wildcats heading to Lawrence, Kansas to face the Kansas Jayhawks. Now this is the 117th meeting between Kansas State and Kansas. Kansas leads the all-time series 65-46-5. Now the Wildcats have won the last 10 meetings over the Jayhawks, dating all the way back to 2009, and the Jayhawks are looking to defeat the Wildcats for the first time since 2008. Now, both teams are coming off big wins in Week 9 in the Big 12 Conference. Kansas State's coming off their big upset victory over my Oklahoma Sooners on Saturday. They're coming in at 5-2, and Kansas is coming off their victory over Texas Tech on Saturday, coming in at 3-5. So, coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown, I will give Kansas State this. They got it done against my Sooners on Saturday. I have no ill will against it. They were just the better team. But I like to play them once again, hopefully in the Big 12 championship game if they can get there. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Skylar Thompson and the Kansas State Wildcats to get a big road victory here and defeat the Kansas Jayhawks in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is an American Athletic Conference rivalry showdown between the Houston Cougars heading to Central Florida to face the UCF Knights. Now this is only the 9th meeting between Houston and UCF. UCF leads the all-time series 5-3. Now the Cougars have won the last 2 meetings against UCF, and the Knights are looking to defeat the Cougars for the first time since 2014. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 9s in the American Athletic Conference. The Cougars are coming off their loss to the SMU Mustangs on Thursday night, coming in at 3-5, and UCF is coming off their blowout victory over Temple on Saturday, coming in at 6-2. So coming from me in this American Athletic Conference rivalry showdown, This one should be good. Coming from me, I'm going to go with the UCF Knights to get it done at home and defeat the Houston Cougars in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown between the North Carolina State Wolfpack heading to Wake Forest to face the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Now this is the 113th meeting between North Carolina State and Wake Forest. North Carolina State leads the all-time series 66-40-6. Now the Demon Deacons have won the last 2 meetings against the Wolfpack, and the Wolfpack are looking to defeat the Demon Deacons for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming off byes in Week 9. North Carolina State's coming in at 4-3, and Wake Forest is coming in at 6-1. So, coming from me in this ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest to get it done on the road at home and defeat the North Carolina State Wolfpacks in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 rivalry showdown between the Utah Utes heading to Washington to face the Washington Huskies. Now this is the 14th meeting between Utah and Washington. Washington leads the all-time series 12-1. Now the Huskies have won the last 4 meetings against the Utes dating all the way back to 2016, and the Utes are looking to defeat the Huskies for the first time since 2015. Now this is the rematch of last year's Pac-12 championship game, so this is Utah's chance to get some revenge. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 9s. Utah's coming off a big victory over Cal on Saturday, coming in at 7-1, and the Huskies are coming off a bye. They're coming in at 5-3. So coming from me in this Pac-12 rivalry showdown and the rematch from last year's Pac-12 championship game, Washington won the Pac-12 last year. So coming from me, I'm going to go with the Utah Utes to get some revenge and get a big road victory and defeat the Washington Huskies. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the TCU Horned Frogs heading to Stillwater, Oklahoma to face the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Now this is the 30th meeting between TCU and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State leads the all-time series 15-12-2. Now the Horned Frogs have won the last 2 meetings against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are looking to defeat the Horned Frogs for the first time since 2016. Now both teams are coming off big wins in Week 9 in the Big 12 Conference. TCU's coming off their big victory over Texas on Saturday, coming in at 4-3. And Oklahoma State's coming off their big victory over Iowa State on Saturday, coming in at 5-3. So coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with Mike Gundy and the Oklahoma State Cowboys to get it done at home and defeat the TCU Horned Frogs in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Coastal rivalry showdown between the Virginia Cavaliers heading to Chapel Hill, North Carolina to face the North Carolina Tar Heels. Now this is the 125th meeting between Virginia and North Carolina. North Carolina leads the all-time series 64-56-4. Now the Cavaliers have won the last 2 meetings against the Tar Heels, and the Tar Heels are looking to defeat the Cavaliers for the first time since 2016. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 9s in the ACC Conference. Virginia is coming off a loss to the Louisville Cardinals on Saturday. They're coming in at 5-3, and North Carolina is coming off a big victory over the Duke Blue Devils on Saturday, coming in at 4-4. So coming from me in this ACC Coastal rivalry showdown, I was right on North Carolina beating Duke, so coming from me, how about we try to make it 2 for 2? I'm going to go with the North Carolina Tar Heels to get a big victory at home and defeat the Virginia Cavaliers in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC East rivalry showdown between the Vanderbilt Commodores heading to Columbia, South Carolina to face the South Carolina Gamecocks. Now this is the 29th meeting between Vanderbilt and South Carolina. The Gamecocks lead the all-time series 24-4. Now the Gamecocks have won the last 10 meetings against the Commodores dating all the way back to 2009, and Vanderbilt's looking to defeat the Gamecocks for the first time since 2008. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 9s. Vanderbilt's coming off a bye. They're coming in at 2-5, and South Carolina's coming off their loss to Tennessee on Saturday, coming in at 3-5. So coming from me in this SEC East rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the South Carolina Gamecocks to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Vanderbilt Commodores. And now the next matchup. It is an American Athletic Conference West rivalry showdown between the SMU Mustangs heading to Memphis to face the Memphis Tigers. Now this is only the 12th meeting between SMU and Memphis. Memphis leads the all-time series 8-3. Now the Tigers have won the last 5 meetings against the Mustangs dating all the way back to 2014, and the Mustangs are looking to defeat the Tigers for the first time since 2013. Now both teams are coming off big wins in Week 9 in the American Athletic Conference. SMU is coming off their big victory over Houston on Thursday night, coming in undefeated at 8-0, and Memphis is coming off their victory over Tulsa on Saturday, coming in at 7-1. Now for me, whoever wins this game could definitely win the American Athletic Conference West Division. So this game is definitely big for both teams. So coming from me in this American Athletic Conference West rivalry showdown, I got to go with the hottest team in this conference, and that's the SMU Mustangs to get it done on the road and remain undefeated and defeat the Memphis Tigers in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown between the Boston College Eagles heading to the Carrier Dome to face the Syracuse Orangemen. Now this is the 53rd meeting between Boston College and Syracuse. Syracuse leads the all-time series 32-20. Now, Syracuse won the last meeting last year over the Eagles, and the Eagles are looking to defeat the Orangemen for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming off tough losses in Week 9 in the ACC Conference. Boston College is coming off their loss to the reigning national champs, the Clemson Tigers, on Saturday, coming in at 4-4, and the Orangemen are coming off their loss to Florida State on Saturday, coming in at 3-5. So, coming from me in this ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown, ooh, man, this one should be good. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Tommy DeVito and the Syracuse Orangemen to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Boston College Eagles in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 rivalry showdown between the Oregon Ducks heading to the Coliseum to face the USC Trojans. Now this is the 61st meeting between Oregon and USC. The Trojans lead the all-time series 38-20-2. Now, the Trojans last beat the Ducks all the way back in 2016, and the Ducks are looking to defeat the Trojans for the first time since 2015. Now, both teams are coming off big victories in Week 9 in the Pac-12 Conference. Oregon's coming off their last-second field goal to defeat Washington State on Saturday night. They're coming in at 7-1, and the Trojans are coming off their victory over the Colorado Buffaloes on Friday night, coming in at 5-3. So, coming from me in this Pac-12 rivalry showdown, ooh, man, this one's going to be good. But I'm going to go with Justin Herbert and the Oregon Ducks to get it done on the road and defeat the USC Trojans in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is the Virginia Tech Hokies heading to South Bend to face the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now this is only the 3rd meeting between Virginia Tech and Notre Dame. The series is tied 1-1. Now, Notre Dame won the last meeting last year over the Hokies, and the Hokies are looking to defeat the Fighting Irish for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 9s. Virginia Tech is coming off a bye. They're coming in at 5-2, and Notre Dame's coming off their embarrassing loss to Michigan on Saturday night, also coming in at 5-2. So, coming from me in this matchup, ooh, man, Notre Dame absolutely took an L on Saturday against Michigan. They just had no offense coming out of that team. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Ian Book, Brian Kelly, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Virginia Tech Hokies in a very close shootout. And now the next matchup. It is another Pac-12 rivalry showdown between the Oregon State Beavers heading to Arizona to face the Arizona Wildcats. Now this is the 41st meeting between Oregon State and Arizona. Arizona leads the all-time series 24-15-1. Now the Wildcats have won the last 2 meetings against the Beavers, and the Beavers are looking to defeat the Wildcats for the first time since 2016. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 9s. Oregon State's coming off a bye. They're coming in at 3-4, and Arizona is coming off their loss to Stanford on Saturday, coming in at 4-4. So coming from me in this Pac-12 rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with an upset. I'm going to go with the Oregon State Beavers to get it done on the road and defeat Khalil Tate and the Arizona Wildcats in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Coastal rivalry showdown between the Pittsburgh Panthers heading to Georgia Tech to face the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Now this is only the 14th meeting between Pitt and Georgia Tech. Pitt leads the all-time series 8-5. Now, the Panthers won the last meeting last year over Georgia Tech, and the Yellow Jackets looking to defeat the Panthers for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming out very different. Week 9, Pittsburgh's coming off their surprising loss to Miami on Saturday, coming in at 5-3, and Georgia Tech's coming off a bye. They're coming in at 2-5. So, coming from me in this ACC Coastal Rivalry Showdown, I'm going to go with the Pitt Panthers to rebound and bounce back on the road and defeat the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And now the next matchup is the UAB Blazers heading to Tennessee to face the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, this is only the 5th meeting between UAB and Tennessee. Tennessee has won all 4 meetings dating all the way back to 1998 when they had Peyton Manning there. And UAB is looking to defeat Tennessee for the very first time in school history. Now, both teams are coming off very different week 9s. UAB is coming off a bye. They're coming in at an impressive 6-1. And Tennessee's coming off a big victory over South Carolina on Saturday, coming in at 3-5. So coming from me in this matchup, oh man, this one's tough. But coming from me, I'm going to go with the upset. I am going to go with the UAB Blazers to get it done on the road and finally beat the Tennessee Volunteers in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 South rivalry showdown between the Colorado Buffaloes heading to Pasadena to face the UCLA Bruins. Now, this is only the 15th meeting between Colorado and UCLA. UCLA leads the all-time series 10-4. Now, the Buffaloes won the last meeting last year over the Bruins, and the Bruins are looking to defeat the Buffaloes for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming out very different week 9s in the Pac-12 Conference. Colorado's coming off their heartbreaking loss to USC on Friday, coming in at 3-5, and UCLA's coming off another big victory over Arizona State on Saturday, coming in at 3-5 as well. So coming from me in this Pac-12 South rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the UCLA Bruins to get it done at home and defeat the Colorado Buffaloes. And now the next matchup. It is a Conference USA East rivalry showdown between the Florida Atlantic Owls heading to Western Kentucky to face the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Now, this is only the 11th meeting between Florida Atlantic and Western Kentucky. Florida Atlantic leads the all-time series 7-3. Now, the Owls have won the last 2 meetings against the Hilltoppers, and the Hilltoppers looking to defeat the Owls for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming off big wins in Conference USA action in Week 9. Florida Atlantic, coming off their victory over Old Dominion on Saturday, coming in at 5-3, and Western Kentucky's coming off their loss to Marshall on Saturday, coming in at 5-3 as well. So, coming from me in this Conference USA East rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with Lane Kiffin and the Florida Atlantic Owls to get it done on the road and defeat the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. And now the final matchup in Week 10, and for me, this game has to be where College Game Day is going to be at this weekend because it's a huge SEC East rivalry showdown and is the battle for the Okefenokee Ore between the Georgia Bulldogs heading to the Swamp to face the Florida Gators. Now, this is the 97th meeting between Georgia and Florida. Georgia leads the all-time series 51-43-2. Now, the Bulldogs have won the last 2 meetings against the Gators, and the Gators are looking to defeat the Bulldogs for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming off byes in Week 9. Georgia's coming in at 6-1, and Florida's coming in at 7-1. And for me, whoever wins this is punching their ticket to the SEC title game because, honestly, these are the 2 best teams in the SEC East, and whoever wins this will be the front runner to win that division and punch their ticket to the SEC title game in Atlanta. So, coming from me in this huge SEC East rivalry showdown and the battle for the Okefenokee Ore, oh man, this one's a tricky pick because they're both good. This one's gonna be a damn near slobber knocker if you ask me. But coming from me, it would be something different if Florida gets to the SEC title game with Dan Mullen in his 2nd year there. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Dan Mullen and the Florida Gators to get it done at home and defeat the Georgia Bulldogs in a damn near slobber knocker. Chomp, chomp. And those are my Week 10 college football predictions. Now, I want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Comment below. Who do you have winning in Week 10 of the college football season? Do you see any big-time upsets? We had a ton of upsets in Week 9 with Oklahoma and Texas losing. Let me know if you see any upsets in Week 10. And as always, represent your college football teams in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about it. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course, reply right back to you because comments are absolutely always welcome on this channel. And I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Now, before you guys go, you guys can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with friends, of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. Of course, you guys can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button, become part of this bigger and dangerous alliance, and I will see you guys later tonight for my Week 9 NFL predictions. Later days, guys, and peace.